Here we go. Welcome back, Triple Cross Podcast. I'm John. That's Casey. We've got a week of football under our belts, and things happened. Some things happened. Some other things also happened. Some things didn't happen.
Whoa,
Casey, how
very
you
meta.
feeling about it? How you feeling about the week, buddy?
I'm feeling great. You know, when the NFL returns to my life, I'm just excited about it no matter what happens. Add on top of that my Niners one, and hey, I'm a happy camper.
Okay, you're just like, why did you leave me? Stop it. Stop leaving me in the offseason. I don't like it.
Going on?
Abandonment issues.
Yeah, what do you think? Want to watch the XFL or the USFL? Like,
no. Want me to watch the Canadian Football League, eh?
Miss me with all that crap football, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So we got stuff top of the show. I think why bury the lead? We got to talk about Aaron Rodgers. We got to talk about him going down. Before we get into that, though, I got to let everybody know the deal. If you haven't been on Triple Cross before, here's how it works. We do giveaways throughout the show. So $25 giveaway for every 10 likes on the video. As soon as we hit 20 likes, we will do a giveaway. So every 10 likes on the video, we're going to do a $25 giveaway. So get them up. We're already at 10. I see it. I saw us just flip over to 10. If you're watching right now, you haven't hit the like button yet. It looks like that. It's at the bottom, not the dislike button, this button. Get the likes on. And once we hit 20, we'll give away a $25 gift card. But Casey, before we get into that, let's talk about A-Rod. Let's talk about what the Jets are going to do. What do you think? Is Zach Wilson that guy? You in on Zach Magic? You're muted. I mean, I don't know. You're that out on him. You're like, I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm gonna move my lips about it, and nothing's going to come out of my mouth. That's how
That's exactly right. I plan to just mute myself out of solidarity for Aaron Rodgers. Like, if he's not starting for that football team, nobody's starting for them. I think they should start like a wide receiver at quarterback. Like, nah, no other quarterbacks for this team. Zach Wilson is not the truth. I think he is likely to be their starter in the short term here because, like, how else how do you get somebody into the building to start like right away? I found it that, I think the real conversation is around who is their starter post like the trade deadline, like who do they who do they go all in on for the playoff push, I guess, if assuming that they still are in for that. I have to assume they are because the rest of the roster is really good. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I got a little something here. We got betting odds on the starter by what is this, week 9?
Maybe like a half a scroll up just so we can see that.
That's the bottom. The field.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
No, the top. I want to see the top headline there.
Did I not get it? New York.
Yeah. It's hiding. It's hiding behind. There you go. Perfect, yeah. John.
Okay, here we go. So yeah, I mean, obviously Zach Wilson plus 300. He's the starter if they don't get somebody else. Other names that have been thrown around: Joe Flacco, Carson Wentz, Jameis Winston, Trey Lance, Kyler Murray, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is their best chance of winning a Super Bowl. We'll throw that out there. That's the ideal. If we can get Tom to put the cleats back on. What do you got going on, dude? You got nothing going on. What are you doing in your life? Like, you don't seem busy, honestly. You're like You're like Luke Skywalker in the new Star Wars movies. Like, you're not busy, dude. Like, you're just sitting here on this island hanging out. Why don't you come play football for the Jets? Win a ring. He's like,
he's living too carefree now. He's no wife to bother him. He's been out of football for a second now. Like, he just needs something to fill his time. And why not just jump into a team that's built to go to the Super Bowl? Jamie doesn't seem to think, she thinks it's like a meme. I think, honestly, as far as like winning a Super Bowl goes, he's about their only chance. I mean, I really believe that. I think there are other guys who give them at least a shot, or at least give them a great opportunity to go into the playoffs and play some playoff football. But as far as winning a Super Bowl, I mean, you need a guy who can just go out there and do it. And Tom Brady's about the only option I see for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, at a plus 5,000 betting odds, it is a bit of a meme. But some other names I've seen thrown around, obviously the ones right there on the screen, Nick Foles. Also seeing names like Cooper Rush thrown around. Trey Lance, Cooper Rush, sort of backup QBs for the Cowboys. Other names I'm seeing thrown around are guys like Trey Lance, obviously he's there. Gardner Minshew, so backup QB for the Colts. Baker Mayfield doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but okay. Kyler Murray, obviously on the screen as well. I think there's like one more list here that I thought had a lot of the guys we really liked. Yeah, there was.
Yeah, there's a few. I touch on those guys you just brought up really quick. One, I mean, Gardner Minshew, I think actually would be a great fit. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a borderline, QB1 in the league, or a really high QB2, right? But he saw action last week because Anthony Richardson
Yeah.
is a young rookie who
Heavy.
loves to put his shoulder down and take hits. And when you got a guy like that, you need a good backup plan. So I think Gardner Minshew belongs on that roster with the Colts. And I feel the same way, honestly, about Trey Lance and what's his face there? What's the other guy?
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush, thank you. Good old Cooper Rush. I think that the Cowboys making a move for Trey Lance as late as they did before the season started, I think they want 3 quarterbacks. I mean, I can't imagine a team showing us with their actions more that they want to have 3 guys on the roster. And for what it's worth, Lance is still listed as their QB3. So I think that makes it even more complicated. They restructured his contract as far as I know. So
yeah,
they're looking to move him. I get why people are talking about them, and especially because there's potentially 2 options to come from there. I just see it as unlikely. I would put my eggs if we're going from like which team does this new quarterback come from? I would put my eggs in the Arizona Cardinals basket.
You like Kyler
or Colt McCoy, not technically with the Cardinals anymore, but he was as of like a week ago. I like those 2 options a lot. I think they represent like playoff hope, winning playoff games. Neither, I think, could win them a Super Bowl, but I think Kyler is the most talented QB that is available because it seems like the new brass in Arizona is just not really in on Kyler, which you get, right? Because Kyler is like some punk kid who plays video games and doesn't study, but he's just gifted. He's the kind of guy you would want to just step in and play backyard football for your Jets team, with a loaded roster. You can just do something with it. Colt McCoy, the exact opposite of that. A guy who could probably come in and run an Aaron Rodgers offense about as good as anybody who is actually an option at this point.
Mike
he's out on the couch too.
Mike makes an interesting point here. Kyler, probably the biggest barrier to Kyler is finances. They would have
finances can all be reworked, my friend.
Yeah, there's lots of ways around, lots of ways to skin that cat. I think Kyler would be great. I think actually Colt McCoy represents like a pretty good upside to Zach Wilson because you can get him. He's there.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a job.
Free agent.
He would love to have a job, and if you would like to offer them that job, he'll probably take it. It's a good job.
Yeah, it's a great job. He has no chips on his side of the table, by the way. He has nothing to negotiate against them, so they could get him ultra cheap. And if you can't get him, get like Andy Dalton, who's 80% of the same.
That's some of the other Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton. How you feeling about those names?
Less excited. I mean, I think we know who those guys are at this point, and I don't think they even really represent like playoff football teams with those guys leading the charge. So, I mean, maybe you eke out the playoffs with like a Jacoby Brissett, but he's on a roster somewhere. You got to pay up to get him. I don't think he's leading them to the promised land. So might as well just stay with Zach Wilson at that point. He might get you to the playoffs still, and at least you can get excited about that because you still got him next year.
Tommy throwing out Josh Love. I don't even know who that is. Who are we talking about here? Josh Love?
Josh Love, I believe, was like a background dancer for Beyonce for a hot minute. No.
I know about Jordan Love. Haven't heard of Josh Love. Maybe he's just before my time. I don't know. My favorite, here's my take right here. You ready for my spicy takes? I got 2 of them.
Let's get it.
My spicy take number 1. Pull Tim Tebow out of retirement, baby. Plus 15,000 odds.
Oh yeah,
you bet
Jets legend.
Jets legend Tim Tebow, the guy who he's got Zach Wilson vibes in that same way, where it's like this guy wins a lot of football games that he's not supposed to win. Like Zach Wilson, how you win in football games? You really shouldn't be winning football games. You're not that good. Tim Tebow, same vibes. Remember we like took the Broncos to the second round of the playoffs and everyone was like, he's not very good. I'm like, at some point we got to just say he's pretty good because he's winning games. I like Tim Tebow at plus 15,000 odds. You bet $100, you win 15 grand. They pulled Tim Tebow out of retirement. It's a long shot. Here's my other hot take. Let's get the better BYU quarterback currently playing in the league. Let's trade for Taysom Hill. Trade for Taysom Hill with the Saints.
Whoa.
Get a double Cougar thing going. It's like a Wildcat. It's a double Cougar thing going in the back count. Get Zach Wilson's mom to the game. And then we got 3 Cougars. We got 2 on the field. We got 1 in the stands.
John making an absolute inferno of this podcast with his hot takes. Those are real hot. Tim Tebow, I think, 8 seasons removed from his NFL career.
Tim Tebow, like old. He old.
Tim Tebow is not who he used to be, and he was never that good to begin with. Yeah, I mean, I of course I know where you're coming from with those picks, John. I appreciate them. Yeah, I don't. The hard part of this whole thing, to bring it semi-serious at all, is like, who is Zach Wilson? And of course, he represents the alternative to whoever you bring in. So I think you have to, if you make a move for anybody, which I do think they have to do, you have to compare him to Zach Wilson, and he has to represent somebody such a better option that you feel comfortable handing the reins over to that guy. Yeah. It can't be a guy who is marginally better than Zach Wilson, which most of the names that get brought up are that. Jameis Winston.
This is why I don't like Flacco. This is why I don't like Flacco. Why Flacco? He was there last year already, and Zach Wilson started over him. Like, Flacco makes no sense.
Flacco makes sense as coming in to be a QB2.
Sure.
For Wilson, because he'll cost nothing and continuity from last year. Yeah, a little locker room. Yeah. That does make sense to me, but only in that way, not to come in and be the guy.
This is Nick Foles. Nick Foles is another one that really people are throwing. But why? Why Nick Foles? For that matter, why Carson Wentz? It just
people don't want to give up. People don't want to give up.
A little better than Zach Wilson, but maybe not. Honestly,
guys, I'm here to tell you. I know not everybody. There's people in here who want to believe it, but I'm here to tell you. This shouldn't be a news flash to you, but Carson Wentz is bad at football, y'all. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. He had an incredible year for 75% of a year or whatever it was that one season, and then he had somebody else go out and win the Super Bowl for them. Like that, he's just not the guy. Ever since that season where he was an MVP candidate, he's looked like he's looked like dog shit, y'all. Like that, he's bad. He's not good at football. I wish he was good too. He's the kind of guy you want to be good. He has like all the tools when he looks the best, but when he looks at his worst, he has no tools. He's just god awful, and they could do so much better. I would not, if you had Carson Wentz on that roster, I wouldn't even start him over Zach Wilson. So why would he be the guy?
Why have him? Yeah,
he's certainly not a QB2 you want behind Wilson.
Honestly, here's where I'm at, and you know how I feel. You know how I feel about anybody who comes out of Utah. I'm gonna be in on him. I'm gonna be in on him until they show me I can't be in on him. Taysom Hill brought it around for me. This dude did not play that well when he was at BYU. Like, I don't know how he got to the NFL, honestly. But he got to the NFL and he did this stuff. He didn't play quarterback, and he's actually made a name for himself in the NFL. I'm going to be in on Zach Wilson. I'll ride him. I'll ride it into the ground. Give me the Karate Kid, man, the blue-eyed wonder. Danielson out there with his headband and his shaved face. I don't think it's shaved. I think he just doesn't grow hair on it.
A little both, probably.
I'm going all the way. Wax on, wax off. Zach Wilson. Get him to the playoffs. Just get him to the playoffs, Zach. You got the roster for it.
All jokes aside, that's your honest to goodness.
That's where I'm going. I think Zach
Week 9 starter of the Jets.
They bring in a QB2 like a Flacco or but unless they can get a deal done for even Colt McCoy, you bring in Colt McCoy. Is he that much better than Zach by week 9? I think I would love to see Zach step up, and by week 9 you have Colt McCoy, but they're still like, you know what? We like Zach. Let's roll with Colt McCoy at QB2.
I hate that you're using my guy as that QB2 in your talks, because I think Colt McCoy in my mind represents the guy who is just by a razor thin margin good enough at running an NFL offense, good enough veteran like journeyman QB to where he is my pick he would be my pick as the starter week 9. Do I think they'll do it? No. But if I were in charge, that's probably who I would put there. I kind of agree with you that it'll probably be Zach Wilson. But Colt McCoy, I think, is the cheapest guy you could get, the easiest because he's a free agent. And I do think he is enough of an improvement over Zach, because you don't have to win the games from the QB position here. Let's remember, this offense, or this entire roster is absolutely loaded. You need a guy to go in there and not make mistakes. Whether we're talking about whether we're talking about Carson Wentz or Jameis Winston or Zach Wilson.
If the thing Alex they don't Smith, represent, if Alex they Smith wasn't they so don't,
go ahead. Sorry. They don't represent smart football players who will not lose you the game. Colt McCoy is the guy who will not lose you the game if the rest of the roster can win it for you. Sorry, go ahead.
If Alex Smith wasn't so many seasons removed, he'd be like a great grab right here. He's too far removed now.
And if his leg wasn't ripped off his body.
Yeah, that's the kind of guy you need. You need that game manager who is going to make good decisions. He's going to put the ball in the right place. He's not going to bring you back from a 20-point deficit, but he's going to do what he needs to do to take advantage of the roster that's there. Guys, there are 17 likes on the video. There's 15 people watching right now. I know some of you have not liked the video yet. As soon as we hit 20, we will give away a $25 gift card. So hit the like button at the bottom of the video. It looks like that. I don't know why I hold up the thumb every time. I feel like people should know what the like button looks like. It's YouTube's only been around for 20 years now. So
if you don't know what it looks like, this is the perfect video to get yourself acquainted with it.
Yeah, we do tutorials here. YouTube tutorials about what the like button looks like and what it means. It means you like the video. But yeah, hit that like button. Once we hit 20, we are going to do a $25 gift card giveaway. Yeah, Mike likes Colt McCoy as well. Look, here's where I'm at with it. I think Colt McCoy is a good grab. You can get him. You don't have to do a deal. Like, look, yeah, go do the deals. Look for Kyler Murray. Look for that, like, best possible case scenario. Try and convince Tom Brady to come out of retirement. But you can get Colt McCoy. You can get him for cheap. So go ahead and do it. What I'm saying about it is that I would love by week 9, like you go get Colt McCoy, week 4, whatever. He needs a few weeks to adjust. I would love by that.
Go get him right now.
I would love by that, like week 6, week 7 point, for them to be like, yeah, we went and got Colt McCoy because he represented a better alternative than Zach, but Danielson's playing pretty good out here. Let's let the kid cook.
That's exactly what I love about him too, is that he represents like options for you going forward. He's a legitimate improvement from what we've seen from Zach Wilson so far. But like you said, he's not going to come in and be the starter next week if they sign him today. Zach Wilson gets a few starts. If he balls out, leave him there. Colt McCoy is just a great backup to have, who's still not breaking. He fits salary-wise into a backup spot. Plus, if A-Rod isn't ready to go next year, which that is super up in the air right now, tough to recover from an Achilles injury, especially at his age, but he might be able to do it. He might not. Colt McCoy represents, he could be your backup next year behind Wilson and stay in that room with you. He could be the starter over Wilson next year, kind of be the mentor to him again, or if they're just ready to move on. Colt McCoy could be a lot of things for them. I think he fits in really well, and he's got a pretty similar play style to Aaron Rodgers, so he fits into this offense. I think this is a slam dunk pick. Whether they'll do it or not, I don't know, because are they the smartest franchise? Remains to be seen.
Last one before we move on to some other QB stuff. Another name being thrown around at really long odds, Ryan Fitzpatrick. How you feeling about Fitzy?
I mean, I even mentioned him to you before we started the show. Yeah. It's mostly just because he was on with the Mannings, like when this was going down. He was on the Monday night game commentary. I don't know if that was the actual broadcast or if it was just their like Manning cast thing. Either way, a lot of eyeballs were on Fitzpatrick, and I think they even joked about it on the air. So I get the connection. I think they could do a lot worse. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is another one of those guys who represents like playoff hopes for them, getting to the playoffs, winning a game, winning maybe 2 games even, which would be a huge step forward for this franchise. You're definitely not winning a Super Bowl with Ryan Fitzpatrick as your quarterback, though. Not in today's game. But I love him. He'd be great. At the right price, if you're still a good mentor for Zach Wilson.
If you're going to win a Super Bowl with Ryan Fitzpatrick as your QB, he probably would have some deeper runs in the playoffs. Let's be honest. Fitzy, 40 years old. No spring chicken. I get that there are other 40-year-old QBs. I get it. I get that Aaron Rodgers. I get that Tom Brady played at 40. I get that. We're not talking about people in the same conversation. We're talking about Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. We're not talking about people in the same tier as Ryan Fitzpatrick. So 40-year-old Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't love it. Get Colt McCoy. Why not? Better option, I think.
I like it.
Some people in the chat saying Pryor. Some people in the chat saying Matt Carroll. Go get Matt Leinart while you're at it. I mean, come on. Yeah. What are we doing here?
Just not represents too much of the same as Zach Wilson. Just maybe high upside, but like who even starts? You can't pick up a guy where you don't know who starts. And if the guy you get doesn't start, you feel like an idiot as a franchise for it. Like,
here's what you're trying to say. You need a high floor guy. You already got a high ceiling guy. Go get a high floor guy.
Absolutely. Highest floor guy of all time, Tom Brady. If you can get him, I know he's at like 2% odds for that graphic you showed, but they could win a Super Bowl with him. I don't think we should
100%
overlook that.
If Tom Brady had a different career where he didn't win as many rings as he did, I think he steps into this team. But at this point, it's like, what's another Super Bowl? So I can fill up another. I'm not going to get 2 hands worth no matter what. I'm just going to get another finger on the other hand. I don't know.
There's also the matter that he's like a part owner of the Raiders, and there's a conflict of interest there.
How does that work? Like, would he have to give up his shares in the Raiders?
I don't know how to work around it, but like that's just another point of friction for this to happen. But we're bridging from this QB talk in the New York Jets into more of our QB talk that we started in the preseason. I actually have this down. I had it notated in here from mid-June, which seems like an eternity ago with all the developments that have happened. John, you and I, we put together QB power rankings for the 2023 season way too early, but that was the exercise. We wanted to see where we fell on them. And I've got that pulled up here. And we're going to do a little segment around that, huh?
Before we get into this, I want to hit on a couple things. Chat's talking about Deion Sanders at Colorado. This has been exciting. Cher is yelling about it. Sanders has been awesome on his way to an NFL job. And then, not yet, Michael. Cher, you got to turn the caps lock off. Come on. Be yelling at people in here. Cooper Rush is the best choice. Stop yelling.
Do you believe in love?
Cher, that's a great name. We love to have you here. You can figure out the caps lock thing, it's tough. I know. Also, Deion, good times. Before we get into this segment, I do want to give you guys a like reminder. We're at 18 likes right now, most likely going to hit 20 likes while we're in this segment. So here's how it works. You like the video first. Step 1, like the video. Do that below. Step 2, go over to playback.tv/triplecross. There's also a link to that in the description. That is our private watch party. You can watch the show over there. Over there is how you get added to the giveaway. I'm going to start watching the chat over there as well. I see Poppin' Fresh over there. I see Jojo Mac over there. I see Chris Vant over there. I see Miguel over there. We got a lot of people over there already. There's a chat over there. You can watch the show over there. So after you like the video, hit the like button, get us to 20, go over there to Playback while we're doing this segment, because we're probably going to give away a $25 gift card after this segment. And that is that. To get us into the next segment, Michael Lavallee says Patrick Mahomes is good.
Hot take of the century.
Hot take. He is Patrick Mahomes is good at football. He knows how to play, knows all the rules. He knows how to throw it. He knows how to run it, knows how to hand it off. All the things that you need to know as a quarterback.
And that's why we voted him at number 1. I mean, we did this. This was a collaborative effort. We argued a little bit. The fans helped us out a little bit with these rankings. And it was kind of the consensus of all those things. You, me, and the fans of the show. And in this exercise, we're going to re-examine this now that we've seen 1 week. I mean, obviously, we don't know for sure. We're doing the overreaction.
No, we know everything. It's been 1 week. We know everything at this point. All we need to know, we know. Yeah.
We're going to talk about a couple of our favorite picks here, like the guys we think we're too low on this list, and the guys we think we're too high on in this list. I'll go ahead and just kick it off right out of the gate. Let's save the controversial one. And I'll start with a guy. Let me scroll down here. There was a guy that I advocated for on this list. Here we go. Number 19 on the list. One, Bryce Young, the Carolina Panthers. I remember when we did this. I think this is how we have to look at this, right? I kind of fought for him at this spot. I do think that by the season's end, he belongs somewhere in here. Maybe even middle of the season. Maybe by the season's end, he's higher than this, right? We certainly didn't see a lot from Daniel Jones in the 18 spot above him. But like Geno Smith, a solid guy, a solid bar to have to clear at the 20 for us. I liked where he landed when we did these this far into the season, where we are. The overreaction, the hot take, the kind of like what I got to do right now is say we were too high on Bryce Young. A little too high on Bryce Young coming out of the gates, at least. Again,
8.
I'm hedging my bets because, again, I think he's going to finish here at the end of the year. But right now, we're not seeing the 19th best quarterback play from the Carolina Panthers rookie in Bryce Young. Dude's just got some growing up to do on the field. He looks like a rookie out there, man. And I was hoping we would see less growing pains and more of just like a cannonball, like shot out of a cannon in his first game action. John, do you agree, disagree? How do you feel?
I hate to say I told you so on this one, but I was not in on any rookie, right? Like I was like, hey, we can't be putting rookies in the top 20 with Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones. I get Daniel Jones, also a guy who, if we're going off of week 1, maybe shouldn't be here either. But when you're Daniel Jones, you've bought yourself a little leeway. You bought yourself some grace. Bryce Young one NFL game to go off, right? So we got to move him. He goes lower. Definitely didn't outperform Derek Carr. Certainly not Jimmy Garoppolo. Not really even Geno Smith. And Geno Smith was not impressive. I mean, Bryce Young, sorry, buddy.
That's my first too
Casey,
high.
Sorry, buddy, too high. I like it.
John,
All
you
right.
can
So
you can tell me any of them, too high, too low, anybody that you want here. Who do you want to go
yeah,
to next?
here's where I'm at. I think so I'm going to go with a guy who I actually think that everybody is a little up on year over year, and I'm a little up on year over year. But I don't know how we landed him this high. If you want to scroll one up for me here, like give me a couple
Absolutely.
spots up. There he is, Mr. Unlimited, Russell
Ooh,
Wilson. It's just what is he doing up there? 12's too high.
12, too
12 is too
high.
high. We got him up there above Kirk. We got him up there above Brock Purdy. I mean, yeah, Kirk didn't win, but
Ooh,
I mean, who else do we got? We got him above Dak. Dak spanked the Giants. I mean, Russ,
above a bunch
he
of
looks
these
better. He
players.
looks better. Don't get me wrong. All right. Like I am optimistic and I know Russ can ball. Okay. So he looks better than he did last year. He looks like he's not, playing imagination games on the sideline, but still not beating a Las Vegas Raiders team that, let's face it, they're, what have they proven? What have they shown us? Not much. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, a little too high on Russ, I think. Who else you got?
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to move on here. I'm going to go to the other side of the coin. Admittedly, I fought for Bryce Young to be where he is, and I was too high on him. There's another guy that I kept saying over and over. And there's a couple guys, but one guy in particular, I kept saying over and over and over again this entire episode that we came up with these rankings. I said, we are too low on this guy. Everybody argued with me. You argued with me. The whole chat argued with me. I mean, now that we're looking at this, I hope everybody agrees with my original stance that we were too lowercase l, too low on one Jared Goff, Detroit Lions.
Maybe
I
a
don't know if you guys
little.
remember, the weekend kind of came and went. A lot of football happened. I don't know if any of you remember all the way back to Thursday night football, but Jared Goff and the Lions, they put a smackdown on them. Kansas City Chiefs, arguably the best team in the league. Jared Goff sitting at number 26 in our quarterback power rankings always rubbed me the wrong way. And I think it's opened up everybody's eyes that this is an egregious position for us to have one Jared Goff, who is clearly a top 20 quarterback, in my opinion. Wherever we would put him, we were too low in mid-June of 2023. John, what do you think?
Maybe a little. I'm not that sold on him. I mean,
Okay, all right.
he still only threw for 250 yards, one TD. Like it's fine. It was a good game. He won the game. They won the game. All right, but yeah, 26, sure, too low. There's lots of guys we have ahead of him who have not
Yeah.
shown much to us. But also two guys I see right in front of him that have like shown us something that also might be too low. You know what I mean? Like if we were to reshake this out, I don't see us having him too much higher than 26. Like I don't see him making a half jump. Let's say a jump up to 13 or better. I don't see him doing that.
Well, it looks like you're ready to move on to somebody else here. Who's your next guy you want to highlight here? Whether it's too high or too low.
The one first time starter that I was in on, and I let you guys settle me at 25. You said that was too high on this guy, but apparently we need to just stop questioning the Green Bay Packers when they draft quarterbacks while they already have a quarterback. Let's just stop questioning them. The quarterback always gets pissed about it. Brett Favre gets pissed when they draft Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers gets pissed when they draft Jordan Love. Jordan Love gets a start, and Brett Favre goes, cheers, buddy. Great start. Way to continue the tradition. How about we just all say, hey, maybe Green Bay knows what they're doing. Maybe they've had like 20 solid years now of great quarterbacks, and we need to just stop questioning it. Draft a quarterback while you still have a quarterback, because this kid played some football. Now, given the Chicago Bears are pretty awful at football, they're really bad. They earned the worst record in the league last year. They were very bad at football. But I think you picked them to win. People are up on Justin Fields. We're way up on Justin Fields here. I mean, that's probably a too high, not to leak anything that's coming up, but we're way up on Justin Fields here. And why? It's not like he did much last year other than show us, hey, the kid can run. That's cool, I guess. He's probably a good fantasy quarterback. And I think that's kind of what happens is you get these guys who are outsized fantasy players, and then we think they're actually good, but they're not actually good.
Well, I will say, when we deem it like power rankings, like, first of all, what does that really mean? Right. But I think it kind of devolves into basically fantasy-esque like rankings, right? Almost, even though I don't agree that's what it should be. I think that's kind of what it ends up being, right? Okay, so moving on here to keep things flowing. Get controversial here. It's time. It's easy to say our number 25 and 26 quarterbacks on our list who had good games were both too low. That's easy, right? I mean, we're taking the gimmies here.
I mean, it's obvious where you're going here. You were never not going to go there. Go ahead.
It's easy to say that our number 19 guy who had a bad game, who was a rookie, is too high right now. Maybe he gets there. There's one guy, and also I guess let's hit on Russ. Russ, it's easy to say he was too high too, and he doesn't have a great game, and he didn't have a good season last season at number 12. Yeah, we were expecting a return to form, maybe not there yet. I'm gonna get real spicy here. People are gonna be upset about this. I'm all the way scrolled up, by the way. This is as high as you can get. I'm talking about a top tier quarterback, and somebody's too high up here, and it might not even be who you think. I'm not going A-Rod. I'm not gonna take anything away from a guy who got injured. I'm not gonna him or a Kyler. It'd be easy to poke at them too. We're talking about skill level that we actually saw on the football field. I was disappointed with a few guys up here, but one, Jalen Hurts, he didn't have the worst game out of everybody who's up here, right?
You got to win.
He did. He eked out a win against not a very good team. I mean, it'd be easy to say Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. They had awful games, worse games than Hurts, right? But I just believe in the bounce back so much with those guys. And I think we were Hurts is a great quarterback, don't get me wrong, but we were too quick, too early to just move him straight up into the elite tier of quarterback. To your point about fantasy football, like, yes, he'll save your day in fantasy football with some ground production, some rushing production that he does that other quarterbacks don't necessarily have. But when I saw him out there on the field, I just didn't get the sense that this guy is such a dominant quarterback, a top 5 quarterback in the league. I mean, I'm more hesitant to move a guy like Joe Burrow or Josh Allen out, even on the back of a terrible game. Something just feels kind of right about Hurts. Might be too high in our rankings here. I think it's hard to argue, honestly. I don't think he looked like a top 5 quarterback in the games he played, outside of whatever you want to say about any of these other guys. I think we might have been too quick to move Jalen Hurts to the very top of the heap. This is the way we have it broken down here. He'd be the top quarterback in the NFC. I don't care what you have to say about it. He definitely wasn't the best looking quarterback from the NFC.
I mean, look, as much as we hate the Cowboys, like Brock Purdy or no Brock Purdy, as much as we hate the Cowboys, that guy definitely deserves that conversation more than Jalen Hurts does, for sure. I think this was always going to be a hard thing for Jalen Hurts to live up to, right?
Yeah,
a top 5 QB, and as a sophomore, like, come on,
exactly.
I don't know how we landed here.
Get there.
I don't know how we landed here, Yeah, it feels, and I don't know if we kind of let the chat bring us there, or if we just know he's a good fantasy quarterback, or if we just say, hey, I mean, look, kid got to the Super Bowl, got to give him the benefit of the doubt. But end of the day, like, it was, not a lot of upside putting Jalen Hurts in a top 5 spot, and a whole lot of downside. So yeah, I agree with you. A little too high right now. I mean, do I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the league over the course of the season? Sure. I'm not trying to shit on Jalen Hurts over here, but he is not that good. He's not top 5. Not top 5.
Absolutely. Not to say you can't get there. I just think we were a little premature. John, who you got next? Is it too high, too low? Where are we going here?
What do we got? We got a 2. Let's do too high. Who am I too high on? Another runner. I just mentioned him. Give me Justin Fields. Where we got him?
Justin Fields up here in the 14 spot.
Justin Fields in the 14 spot. Too high. Come on. We got Jordan Love sitting at 25 and this kid at 14. Too high. Yeah, he can run. What else does he do? You got to. His top receiver had 55 receiving yards. He took as many carries as his top running back. He had more rushing yards than his top running back. He just runs. That's real one-dimensional. You're going to have to do more if you want to be an NFL QB. A top 15 NFL QB. You're going to have to do more if you want to be an NFL QB, period. Like a starting QB that has a starting job. You got to figure something else out besides, I don't like this, I'm going to put it on the ground. It just doesn't work forever. Look at the guys who have done that. Look at Vince Young. Look at Cam Newton. 1 or 2 good seasons. Lamar Jackson is like on a few more good seasons than that, but there's a lot of design runs for Lamar Jackson. That's a one-trick pony team that hasn't broken through yet. You got to be more than that. You got to be more than that, Justin. Too high at 14.
This is maybe our first disagreement in like a decent way, at least. Maybe you're not projecting this guy's whole career, but I do think he still has the tools to make it happen. I wouldn't call this offense a one-trick pony with the addition of DJ Moore. I think they can turn into a
when he throws to him twice, when he throws to DJ Moore twice.
It's
2
first game
targets.
together. First
Like,
game together. They got to work on it. Hey, I'm not defending what we saw. I'm defending what I think could still be the case later on in the year. Again,
all right, look,
we
anything can
could
happen.
look.
I'm calling what I
Yep,
saw here.
exactly. We could look back on this season and this be the perfect spot for him. I agree. Based off what we've seen, the overreaction is he's far too high. Even didn't perform like a top 15 quarterback. Didn't honestly perform like a top 20 quarterback, or maybe even a top 25 quarterback. Getting it done on the ground isn't all it takes.
I would put it this way. I wouldn't say that he necessarily dropped in spots, because I think there's some other guys ahead of him who are maybe a little too high too, namely that guy right in front of him. But I think if we reshook this out, there's just multiple guys who we got too far down that would jump him, and not enough guys that he would jump.
And on that note, perfect segue into my last guy to bring up here. I'm going to save the hammer for John. John's going to end it on a really solid note. But we can't get past this segment without me victory lapping a little bit on the other guy that I just had to advocate for, that everybody argued with me. They said we already had him too high. I'm doubling down on this take. I got my guy, Brock Purdy, as a too low in the number 15 spot. You heard it right. It's John's point. Justin Fields is ahead on this list, right? I mean, we could scroll down a bit. Sure, some people are going to argue like a Dak Prescott should be higher. Maybe some other guys in here too. I don't care. I don't care at all. Brock Purdy is the top 15 quarterback in the NFL. At this point, if you don't believe in it, you're just hating. The dude has literally never lost a regular season game. He's the first guy ever to win his first like 8 regular season games and throw multiple touchdowns in all of them. I mean, and they just take every single one of those games. It feels like they take their foot off the gas because they're ahead by multiple scores too. So we don't even know the real ceiling of this guy. And who knows? I'm not saying they would have beat Philadelphia in that game that he got injured, but we certainly, you can't put that loss on him. He was out in like the second drive or first, whatever it was, way early in the game. That loss isn't on him. I would say he's still undefeated in games he's had a significant amount of time. And I think, look at the guy right above him. He's better than him. Kyler Murray's not playing. Again, I'm not going to drop a guy on this list because he didn't play last week, but I certainly could put a guy above him because they played super well. I mean, I think Purdy belongs above at least the guys immediately 3 above him. These 3 guys, they don't belong in the same conversation as Brock Purdy in the current form that we see them. I'm not doing a Justin Fields here where I project him to get better. Brock Purdy's already there, man. Brock Purdy has arrived. He is a quarterback in the league. He's arguably he's up for debate, a top 10 quarterback in the league. Love it or hate it. That's the reality, folks. That's where we are.
The results are there, right? Like, it's very hard to say. So let me get into some other guys in kind of the same case as Brock Purdy here. Somebody said Deshaun Watson too high, right? What do we got him at? 9? 9 feels high for Deshaun Watson. I get it. 9 does feel high for Deshaun Watson. Who else? Somebody said Matt Stafford, maybe a little too high. Yeah, I get it. 11 feels high for Matt Stafford. Can we drop them this week? No. Deshaun Watson just spanked the Bengals. Spanked them. Bent them over a barrel. All right?
Yeah.
Matt Stafford won handily against the Seahawks.
He didn't even account for a touchdown in that game, by the way, but he had like 320 passing yards or something like that.
I mean, look, how do you drop him, right? And then on the flip side of that, well, Joe Burrow, we got him at the 2 spot. Does he deserve to drop? Yeah, if we're overreacting to this season, we do, but we give Joe Burrow the grace, don't we? Same with Josh Allen. We give him the grace.
Yep.
We say, yeah, okay,
they've done it for multiple seasons already.
We're not ready to be out on any of those 3 guys who lost week 1. Yep. They can stay where we're at. Where they're at. Because what are we going to do? Are we really going to say that who would be the person? Who would be the person? Be a Trevor Lawrence?
Patrick Mahomes lost to Jared Goff, so clearly Jared Goff belongs higher than Patrick Mahomes on this list.
Yeah,
right?
We're going to say a Trevor Lawrence or a Lamar Jackson is the number 1 QB in the league. Maybe not, but you know who we might say is the number 1 QB in the league? Not Brock Purdy. The next guy on the list that I don't see, Tua Tagovailoa. This guy can ball. If this dude plays healthy, we got jiu-jitsu Tua here. The guy learned how to fall in the offseason. He went and took jiu-jitsu classes so he could learn how to fall better. I don't know if that's going to help him, but they're like, hey, you get tackled, we'll show you how to get tackled. He can put a ball, that space between like your car seat and the center console where you drop shit in there and it's like you can't ever get. He could put a football in there from 30 yards away. This guy is putting balls in keyholes, all right? He's putting them in tight windows, and Tyreek Hill could get open in a freaking Mazda Miata. All right.
Not to mention Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, you didn't even have to utilize Jalen Waddle very much. Led the week in passing week 1. Tyreek Hill is doing Tyreek
absolutely
Hill
dominated.
things.
Saying he led is an understatement. He dominated.
It was not close. Was not close. And he won. All right. So the Chargers are a tough team, and they came to play. Like, that's another guy, Justin Herbert. I'm not dropping him. He played a great game. The Chargers played a great game. The Dolphins just were better. They just played a better game. And yeah, I mean, Tua had a lot to do with it. He was putting the ball on dots, putting it right where it needed to go, not making mistakes, keeping himself on his feet, keeping himself off this guy might be it. This guy might be top 5. This guy might be top 4. He might be in that tier of quarterbacks. If we could see him stay healthy, he might be in that tier of quarterbacks, that Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow tier of quarterbacks. That is like really, they're a tier above everybody else, right?
And that's the key component, right? Can he stay healthy? I mean, I think most of the guys, like you can't project injury, but when a guy has so many injury concerns, literally a year ago, it's worthwhile to mention. But that is outside of his power ranking, in my opinion. And I do think that we saw such an incredible performance that I absolutely agree. Tua is below some guys that he belongs above. I mean, I immediately go to like the Hurts that I went too high on here. I go, did we really see anything that tells us that Hurts is a better quarterback than Tua when healthy? Of course, assuming health. I don't think so. I think I don't know that I automatically put Tua in that 5 spot if we redo this today, but I think he belongs above Jalen Hurts. And you
got to give him the nod on Herbie, right? You got to give him the nod on Herbie.
That's real close. That's like the question in my mind.
I get you, but like you get the nod if you get the win. To me, you know.
Again, the main thing, that would be the question. That would be the line, and maybe we do. Yeah, maybe we do. I don't think. Yeah, to your point, like I don't think he goes above A-Rod just because of like body of work at this point yet. But yeah, maybe that's exactly where he is. I think maybe even Justin Herbert doesn't even represent the next guy behind Tua. Maybe somebody else even jumps up. I mean, I'm looking at our guys. We don't need to dwell on this too long. We kind of finished up this segment, but this is a ton of fun. These guys that were too low on here, this Brock Purdy and Tua, I think obviously Purdy, in my mind, obviously jumps these guys were too high on here, as well as anybody else kind of in that group. I think they kind of rise through the ranks together, like even as a package for the moment. I think they both belong above Deshaun Watson, even though Deshaun Watson looked okay.
As of today, look, do you remember when everybody was waiting? Everybody was tank for Tua. Like,
I do. It was huge.
I am so glad he's doing this, right? Because it's like,
he's in the perfect spot too.
It wasn't working, and you put the weapons around him, and you got Mike McDaniel, who's just like Kyle Shanahan 2.0 over there. I love it. Like these two are a great package. Tua, looking at it, eye test. Just go an eye test here. Tua feels a touch more talented than Brock, but I don't know. Brock does the right stuff. He puts the ball where it needs to go. There's nothing wrong with Brock. Tua feels maybe a little more talented just because he's a little more electric. But part of that is because he has Tyreek. You got guys who kind of lend themselves to that electric style of play. So I like both these guys. If we're talking about guys who represent the next generation of Josh Allen's, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers type players, these two are my favorites. Deshaun Watson put a spanking on the Bengals. Just absolutely owned them. But yet I'm not ready to move him because I think what Tua did was more impressive, even though it was a 4-point win.
These two guys that were the two lows on right near the top here, Tua and Brock, I think they represent our two breakout candidates for the season. We've seen what we needed to see. And I think you're right. I think this is like the next up and coming generation of guys that you might not by season end again, which is, I still think what we were really doing here by season end. I think they might represent those borderline elite quarterbacks that you just can't dismiss anymore, no matter what you think. I mean, it's just going to come down to numbers at a certain point. And I will say the difference between them, even though Mike McDaniel comes from the Shanahan offense, both offensive gurus in their own right, absolutely. Shanahan likes to run the ball, and when he passes, it's the quick pass game. Purdy puts the ball, he gets to the end of his drop and just gets the ball out of his hand. Tua, little bit different kind of offense they're running, even though it's from the same tree. Tua's holding on to the ball. That's why he got hurt last year, because he needs the routes to develop downfield, these deep passing routes to Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. So, yeah, Tua is going to be more volatile, I think, than Purdy, just week to week. Yeah. I think that's true. But Tua's going to, being volatile, he's going to have the explosive weeks.
He's going to be more electric, too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That might be the last thing. That might be the one roster where the weapons are more electric than the 49ers, just on like a play-to-play basis. Still in general, I think the Niners have better weapons than anybody. But when Tyreek Hill is catching the ball, I'm like, well, that might be the most electric man in the entire sport. So
yeah, dude can get open in a phone booth.
Absolutely.
There's I think and given Mike McDaniel, I don't think it's actually a switch in coaching or capability there. I think it's personnel. Both of them are playing to their personnel. Kyle Shanahan had the Miami Dolphins personnel. The offense would look a little bit more like the Miami Dolphins offense. The offensive line would look a little bit different. Same thing with Mike McDaniel. If he had the Niners tools, then he would probably look a lot more like a West Coast style offense, in my opinion. I think they're just versatile offensive minds in that way. But I think we owe these people a giveaway. So here's how it works. We told you how it works before. Hopefully you guys made your way over to Playback. I see a bunch of you did. You guys are having conversations over there. We got 12 people over on Playback. We're about to do a giveaway. I don't have a wheel. Do you have a wheel, Casey? You want me to do it?
Oh, sure. I can fill the air a little bit. So John is making a wheel. You guys, if you haven't already, you still have time. Excuse me. This is kind of your last call to get over to Playback now. Make sure you hit a like on this video on YouTube, but the link is in the description to head over to Playback. If you join us on Playback, you can get onto the wheel, get yourself a chance to win some sports memorabilia. We will be giving away $25, a $25 gift card to DAP Sports, our partner in our prizes. That's a pretty awesome website. If you haven't been there before, if you haven't checked them out while they're live on TikTok, live selling sports memorabilia, definitely check them out. Make sure you do it after this show ends, but definitely do it at some point. And if you win $25, hey, that's all the reason you need to go to their site. I know we have some people who are in the chat who could definitely vouch and say they've gotten some cool stuff from that. So yeah, definitely sound off in the chat if you've done it before. John's making a wheel. Again, you got to be over in Playback to get added to the wheel. We get the comment about every episode. We get about 4 comments, it feels like, of people sounding off in the YouTube chat, like, add me to the wheel. We will never do that. We'll never do it if you're saying it in the YouTube chat. You got to be over on Playback. We see a list of all the people who are active over there, so we'll add you automatically. And before we ever do a spin, we'll show you the wheel. If you don't see yourself on the wheel, all you got to do is chat, and we'll remedy that situation for you. Make sure we make it right. Oh, you can see a little glimpse of the wheel right now. Looks like we got Raz, Felix, Mike X. Mike S. That's the right letter. Miguel, Jojo Mac, Huey, Raylex, Jamie, Poppin' Fresh, J-Dog, and Chris Vant. That's everybody we see right now. But you can get in on it, too. Looks like we need to add Romy.
Romy is there. Yeah, I will add Romy. Hey, James Brown, King of Soul, let me know. I see you on Playback, but I know that you're just permanently there. So let me know if you're actually on Playback, and I will.
James Brown, he figured out the racket. He figured it out. He beat the system, honestly. We got him in on a bunch of spins. He just stays logged in all day. You can do that too. We're gonna verify that you're here, though.
Yeah, he ain't the King of Soul for no reason. He knows what he's doing, man. He knows his way around. Yep. So if you are on YouTube, now is the time. What do we say? We got about I'll give him a 1-minute warning at this point. Jedi Fat, I got you. Sorry.
On the other side of this spin, guys, we're going to get into more of our overreactions based off our preseason content. We're going to dive into our playoff projections and let you know how we feel about some of those projections we've done. Let you know which ones we are more solidified than ever before that we picked to go to the playoffs, the teams that we choose to ride with. We're also going to clue you in on some of the teams we're most concerned about that we picked to go to the playoffs. I know there's going to be some good content there, so stick around. Make sure you hit a like on the YouTube video and then join us over on Playback. The link is in the video description. Jump in there, get yourself added to this wheel, and potentially win yourself $25 to DAP Sports and get yourself something nice as far as sports memorabilia goes. John, I think I bought you all the time we need. The wheel looks good. Nobody's sounding off. I think we're ready for a spin. Who do you think the almighty wheel is going to land on today?
Give me Raz.
Ooh, Raz
for the win. What do you like? Who do you like? Hello? Did I lose you? Oh, your mic must have come unplugged. Casey, like somebody. Okay, there he
Can you
is.
hear me now?
I can, but you're not coming through your mic.
I got it. We'll remedy this. And boom. Should sound a lot now. There we go. I got a little carried away. I guess I death gripped my mic a little too much. Won't do that again. I'm going to ride with the person I handed Chat MVP to last Triple Cross episode. Chat MVP, one of those awards we give away to grant a bonus spot on the wheel. You would know all about that if you join us for our after parties on Playback after we end the YouTube streams, which we're going to do today as well. But I'm going with Poppin' Fresh to win this one. Dude's bringing some life to the chats. I gotta stay closer to the chats today, but yeah, Poppin' Fresh. Here's to you, bro. Let's get this win.
All right, here we go. Spinning. I gotta remember not to watch it actually play out and watch it on the YouTube. Oh! She hasn't been here in a minute. Coming back with a bang. It's Jamie G. Jamie G. Also known as Jimmy G, because everybody in our chat is actually obviously a burner. Clearly, Jamie, you're not hiding it well. Like you just took the girl version of Jimmy. What are you doing? Jamie G, congratulations. Email triplecrosspodcast@gmail.com. Let them know. Let Megan know you won a $25 gift card on episode number 96. Guys, we're close. We're going to hit
closing in on 100.
100. So 97 will probably be Friday, 98, 99 next week, and then we'll be at 100. I don't know. We should do something. We should do a stream. We should do like a live stream, like a watch along for 100 or something like that.
We should do something cool. Maybe we revisit the spicy hot wings episode.
Yeah, I think like a Monday night, because it'd be a Tuesday episode. So maybe we do a Monday night watch along with some hot wings. That might not work out, but yeah, we'll figure something out. Or Sunday watch along, Sunday night football watch along.
Basically, whenever the Niners play, I feel like that's probably the one. I mean, maybe I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll pick a good
Vikings,
matchup.
But,
maybe
or just a good matchup. Maybe we just pick a good.
Bro, if the Vikings play the Niners this year, I don't know if they do, but that would be the one. But anyway,
it wouldn't be good though. It wouldn't be a good
not good for you. Not good for you.
It would not be a good. Like, it'll be more exciting if it's a good game. That's all I'm saying.
It would be. It would be. Or just complete domination where we can just focus on being silly instead of watching the game. That could work out in a different way for us.
That's the thing. If it's Niners Vikings and we do our wing bets along those lines, like, I'm gonna eat so many hot wings. And you're the guy who's like, I'll just eat them. Like, however hot they are, I'll just eat them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's
awful for me. I hate it.
I say the thing like mind over matter, like that's how it fits into my brain. That when I'm eating hot stuff, I'm like, who cares what it's going to do to my body? Just like don't think it's hot and it's fine. Just don't be a loser,
don't be a bitch about it.
Yeah, exactly. Just man up, dumbass. But I can't apply that to like anything else. So I think really what it boils down to is I like food.
I apply that to a lot more sections of life that I feel are more useful than hot
exactly.
Foods.
Well, I can't apply it to anything useful other than eating like stuff I shouldn't. I'm like, maybe I'm just a pig. Maybe that's what it is.
I think the best way for me to look at it is there's a lot worse jobs in the world than eating hot food for YouTube. So, just man up and do it. Yeah,
I agree.
Share we. Here we go. Here's one of them. Share we. I'm not on the wheel. Hey, look, Share. First of all, very glad that you got the caps lock figured out. Great job on that. Not exaggerating. The people yelling, and I never know. I'm like, are you mad? Are you mad at me? So I'm glad you got the caps lock figured out. The way you get on the wheel, we are doing another spin because we've already earned 2. So there's a link in the description to playback.tv/triplecross. You got to go over to Playback. The show is on over there, so you can just watch it over there. There is there's a chat over there. So a bunch of people who were here in this chat, they've actually moved over there. So you want to keep chatting, want to keep watching, that's where you do it. You might have to create an account. It's free, totally free. That's one thing we don't mention a lot about Playback. It is free.
No mountain we can climb.
Sometimes a little Share feels like he needs to provide some background music.
It's kind of my thing. I do it a little bit. I don't want to interrupt you, but I feel like I could just be soft in the background. It's just a little ambiance, really.
Dude, Dan Jones Boldini over here is he's our guy. Dan Jones, thanks for letting everybody know. Link in bio. Buddy, you got to do a little bit better this week. That was not great for you, but
That was a nasty performance.
Appreciate you sending everybody over to Playback for us. All
We
right,
do.
Casey, who are you worried about?
Yeah, I am going to start. So I think, again, similar format, guys, for how we're doing this. We could share who we're worried about, who we're most convinced we were right about. I am going to start with somebody I'm worried about. A team in particular that I do, again, have high hopes for. It's very tied to the quarterback situation that I already pointed out earlier. But I am going no further than the NFC South. I projected, you can see the hot take, got the asterisk there. Put the Panthers to win this division. That's a bold take. I think anybody would have agreed. I knew it was at the time. Probably should have these flip-flopped, but this is the order I put them in, so I'm sticking to it. But that just makes it all the easier to say. I am very worried about the pick that the Panthers are going to come out on top of the NFC South. I knew it was kind of a long shot. The Saints probably the smarter choice there, but the Panthers, if they're going to make the playoffs, they got to like claw their way there. I mean, no pun intended. The Panthers have claws, but this is all on the back of Bryce Young. The surrounding team, fine, not great, not terrible. Bryce Young, though, if he plays great, they can do it. I believe in the young man. He needs to show us a lot more than he's shown us so far, and he can do it. But all things said, I'm pretty fucking nervous, man. I mean, I don't know if I would make this same pick after seeing what I saw week 1. So Panthers, get your shit together because you're making me nervous about my pick here. John,
we're all stirred up in the NFC South. Like of the teams that could make
all
the
over
playoffs
the
from the end,
place.
we've literally chosen all of them other than who? The Falcons, or that's AFC South. Who did we miss?
No, it's Falcons, right? Yeah, Falcons.
Is it AFC? They're in NFC South. Most people say the Falcons are the favorite out of the NFC South. Like we're like, no, we're out on the Falcons. But we'll pick every other team, including the Panthers. Yeah, this is.
Hey, you want to know something crazy though? That division is 3-1. Almost everybody thinks it's the worst division in football. They're 3-1 though.
I mean, yeah, the Bucks beat the Vikings. I'll get to that one in a bit. So let's talk about one I'm worried about here. Who am I worried about?
Who are you worried about?
Give me some scrolls. Can you give me some scrolls here so I can look around?
Which direction? Okay, up. I'll go up. We'll go up to the AFC. You can see like one conference at a time here. There you go.
Yeah. Now go down. Yeah. So obviously, okay. So one I'm most worried about, like, let me call out Captain Obvious first here. Giants grabbing a wild card spot.
Oh, boy.
Am I really out on the Giants after week 1? No, but we gotta overreact because that's how you make content after week 1. A 40-0 loss is significant. And I think I probably take it a little bit easier than most football fans do because I'm used to basketball and it's just kind of like, yeah, at some point throughout the season, somebody's going to get spanked. And even if they're like better than the other team, they're just going to have an off night. Everything's going to go in for them. Nothing's going to go in for, and that can happen. The football gods were certainly on the Cowboys sid in this game. Everything was bouncing their way. Like a lot was going their way, but also Vanilla Vic, did he even put it on the ground at all? Did not see any running from him. You got basically Saquon Barkley and like a freaking bunch of fluffy pillows over there. That's what's going on in New York.
A bunch of like sub 6 foot receivers, like all slot receivers playing outside, playing everywhere. It's terrible.
A quarterback who's better with his legs than with his arms. His face looks weird. That's got to play a factor. Like he's got like his chin goes out further than his forehead. That can't be good. You can't trust a guy whose chin goes out further than his forehead. I mean, that's really the bottom line here.
Just Jay Leno, and that's it. Mike, the token Giants fan in the chat says it was terrible, and he's a Giants fan.
Terrible.
So, I mean, nobody disagrees with this. After a 40-0 just slaughter, John, I think this is probably this is the easiest thing to be worried about right now. I do think they'll bounce back, in good faith. I will say that, like, am I that worried? No, of course not. I think maybe you might even be a little more worried about the Panthers than I am about the Giants, as crazy as that sounds. But it's just, the Cowboys might be good. I think a whole lot of this, actually, who I think a lot of this comes down to is one Micah Parsons. That guy is a beast. That guy's everywhere. And I haven't heard who's that again. I don't know.
I think he's a running back. No.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, early out to the early lead, maybe for Depoy. I don't know.
Could be.
Myles Garrett also looked good. Aaron Donald also looked.
I mean, I defy you to name the position he plays too, because he lines up
No, he plays
everywhere.
defense. He is defense. He doesn't play defense. He is defense.
Sweats defense.
He is, yeah. Micah Parsons wakes up in the morning and shits defense. All right.
That's exactly what he does.
He was Daniel Jones couldn't get anything going. He was scared. Guy was like, before he snapped the football, he's like, he's worried. He wasn't looking at his guys before he snapped. He was looking for Micah Parsons. It was
You're talking about the Micah Parsons, Daniel Jones's father.
Yeah.
His daddy.
Daddy,
okay. I recognize that name.
Spanked him like a redheaded stepchild. That's who I think this really comes down to. The Giants were not ready, and he just disrupted everything. Every single play, he was putting hands on a ball carrier. And so make an adjustment. Are the Cowboys that good? No. The football gods gave them some favors. The football gods gave the Giants some non-favors. But yeah, it's concerning. Anytime a team loses 40-0 in football, that is concerning, especially if you think they're going to make the playoffs.
All right, the next team I want to point out, flipping the coin over, we're going to palate cleanse ourselves. We're going to get these gross teams out of our mouths for a second. I want to talk about a team that I feel more convinced than ever that I was right about when I projected them to do well. We're going to stay right here in the NFC, and I got to get this out of the way. I'm not going to save this one for last because it would just be too obvious where I'd be going. But you're damn right, I'm going to say that I was right about the Niners. The Niners looked about as dominant as a team could. Take that Cowboys-Giants game out of this week, and I think the Niners had the most dominant victory amongst the rest of the teams, right? And particularly like the way they did it. I mean, they did it through the air, on the ground, defense. I mean, and against a team that a lot of people expected to be really good in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Niners, it is super on brand for me. It is really easy for me to say, but guess what, guys? They're a really good team. Every single position group, they have somebody paid right at the very top tier in the NFL, like breaking the bank to sign guys at every single position group, basically. And you know what else? They've done some fancy footwork. To Mike's point earlier, teams might not be able to do certain things because of money. The Niners have the most cap space in the entire NFL, even with all the superstar power they have, because they just restructured 3 different contracts. Bet that takes some people by surprise. The Niners have reloaded, and it looks like they're going to make some more moves to make their team even better. And this is the year they have absolutely sold out, mortgaged some of the future to win themselves a Super Bowl. They're gonna.
Were you about to give me a Michael Scott? They did some fancy financial footwork.
Through some fancy financial footwork, they find themselves incredibly broke.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to challenge you on this because
not really.
I don't think you're more high on them than you ever were. I think you're just as high on them as you always have been.
If you're saying, did I expect the game to go the way it did, then you're kind of right, John.
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't think you're high on them.
To be completely honest, go ahead. To be completely honest, I did not think that they would win by 23 points. Like that is higher than I expected.
Look, I'm letting you take your victory lap. Okay. Like you get to take your victory lap. You get to do your, I told you so's, but as of right now, you think you see the Niners in the NFC Championship?
What's up? Was that a question?
Yes.
I thought you were just stating facts that were obvious to people.
Do you think that you see the Niners in the NFC Championship? Yes or no?
Of course.
Assuming they stay healthy. Yes.
Of course.
You think you see the Niners coming out of the NFC, assuming they stay healthy?
Yes, as well.
You think the Niners win the Super Bowl, assuming they stay healthy?
That's always going to be tough to project, but they'd be my favorites. Yeah, especially because just since you asked, especially because all 3 of those top teams in the AFC that everybody always says is so good, they all lost in spectacular fashion, regardless of how good their quarterbacks are. So just saying, the team that's actually good, around their quarterback won.
Like I said, I'm gonna let you take your victory lap here. This is the last time you get to say you're higher than the Niners than you've ever been.
That's true.
I
could go higher.
Until you're ready to say they win the Super Bowl. That's like a hard prediction. They win the Super Bowl. That's the only time you get to say that you're higher on them than you've ever been from now on, because you already think they're going to the Super Bowl.
You're telling me if they start the season 10-0, for example,
You got to say, I think they're winning the Super Bowl.
Even higher on. Oh, I will for sure say it at that point. I'll for sure say at that point.
The next time you get to say you're higher than you've ever been,
I respect
when you're ready to say
I respect that because you did sense a tad bit of hesitation when you asked me if they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that's still up for anybody could win the Super Bowl.
Sure.
But nobody else is winning the NFC. I'm at that point now.
No, and look, I'm not saying you can't talk about the Niners. Don't hear what I'm not saying.
Well, I mean, you could never stop me.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have a show if Casey's not talking about the Niners.
Yeah, I'll make my own show. It's called this Niners Love and Nothing Else.
The Triple Cross Niners, football show.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, you're going to talk about the Niners, but you don't get to say you're higher than you've ever been again until you're ready to call them to win the Super Bowl. Mike's already there. That means Mike is higher on the Niners than Casey.
Yeah.
You heard it from Mike first.
Purdy MVP, by the way.
Purdy MVP. Not only is Mike higher on the Niners than you, he's higher on a Purdy than you, I'm guessing. I don't think you're ready for that call yet.
I am not ready for that call. I would say CMC or Nick Bosa would be my leading candidates if they win the Super Bowl.
Is it common for non-quarterbacks to win the MVP?
Common is the wrong word, but it's easier than like regular season MVP, which is going to a quarterback pretty much regardless of circumstance. Especially defensive players can win it pretty easily. Yeah. Like for example, the Seahawks had a linebacker who won it. I think Malcolm Butler might have won it when the Patriots had the like goal line stand where he intercepted Russell Wilson's pass. I think he won it that year. So like defensive guys who have a big player too can really sway that in particular, that award.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. Who am I hotter now? Who am I excited about my pick? Give me a scroll up to the AFC, por favor.
Okay, breaking the AFC open here. Love it.
Breaking the AFC open. I got the Dolphins in the wild card. If anything, I'm maybe put them in the wrong spot. They might win.
Yeah, you might have messed up on that one.
I might have done fucked up, but I don't know. I'm not really willing to count Josh Allen out yet. But Dolphins to make the playoffs. Come on. Higher than I've ever been. I already said all the things about the Dolphins, though. They've got Tyreek, they've got Waddle, they've got Tua. Those three are really, really great together. Like, really, I can't say it enough. Tyreek's like a Justin Jefferson. I put those two in a category above other receivers right now, where it's like, hey, you know where we're going. We're just gonna go ahead and do it anyway. Like, Also, what are the Chargers doing jamming up Tyreek Hill? Like, why would you play like a press coverage on the fastest person on an actual freaking cheetah? Like, makes no sense to me. Side note, but I don't know. I said all the things about the Dolphins. I don't have much more to say. Do you have anything you want to say about the Dolphins? I'm very happy with that pick.
Yeah, Dolphins. There's a reason why we both had them going to the playoffs straight across the way here. I had them in the same spot. I agree with everything you said, basically. Not ready to move the Bills down from 1 yet, but I feel way more secure about the Dolphins going to the playoffs than ever before. So I'm right in line with you. We don't need to discuss it much other than I don't think that they can exactly keep up what they've done 100% in week 1, but close enough, man. They're dominant out there.
Yeah, on the flip side, to give a bonus to the Dolphins, since I don't have much more to say about them, probably moving into your next one, I'll just say really quickly, not taking the Jets to grab a wild card out of the AFC. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was a good idea at the time. Like, I'm pretty proud of myself.
It's good in hindsight.
It's a weird one because it's like, I'm not saying a team that I picked that I'm like, oh, this is a team I didn't pick that I'm like, well, hey, good job, John. Pat on the back.
Yeah. Perfect segue. Built me a bridge straight to it. That's where I'm going next. My next one that I am worried about, we still got a couple more to talk about, but the next one that I'm worried about is indeed Los Jets. The Jets. Now, I think that this is worded particularly. We're not saying that takes that we're ready to bail on, right? Bail on Greyjoy. Obviously. That was funny to like.
That's
one
a deep cut. Dude, that's a deep cut because I think he's only in the books, dude.
Later. Nah, he's in the show too. He's in the show. But anyway,
okay. I'll take your word for it. I haven't seen it.
He certainly is. Don't worry about it. I got that unlocked. Couldn't help myself. That was just a reflex. I'm a Game of Thrones nerd. But also, this is a football show. We're talking about football. Jets. Like I said, I'm not ready to bail on them yet, but I am nervous. I'm nervous, and I think it largely comes down to this first segment that we talked about today. Who are they going to get to replace Aaron Rodgers? Status quo is Zach Wilson. That is the perfect line on a razor thin margin. I have absolutely no idea whether they're just barely a playoff team or they are not quite a playoff team with Zach Wilson at center for an entire season.
Yeah.
I don't know. If they make the right move, I think it ups their odds. If they make the wrong move, I think it hurts their odds. So I'm getting nervous, but I still don't know that if it were today, they're so good everywhere else, man. Breece Hall is the truth at running back. And the defense is a top 5 defense. I'll argue with anybody over that. So I think if we redid it today, like to your point, it looks good in hindsight not to have picked them. I might just be a glutton for punishment. I probably would do the same thing, at least in reference to the Jets.
We're probably talking about the best running back room in the league, hands down.
Gotta be.
We're probably,
and they'll need it. They're gonna need it now.
In terms of a possessional receiver, I mean, we talked about guys like Justin Jefferson is just a very versatile receiver. He's possessional. Sure. He's everything. In terms of a possessional receiver, Garrett Wilson is, I mean, we got him like we got him grabbing, just Zach Wilson threw a pass into the end zone with the cornerback watching him. And Garrett Wilson just goes like, no, that's my ball. Like I'll use this hand to hold you, and I'll use this hand to tip the ball up and catch it. Dennis Rodman style, getting rebounds, tipping him up in the air and grabbing him. That guy is good. That guy's good at football.
You know the little like do-rag that Zach Wilson plays with all the time underneath his helmet? Little like
the headband.
He could pull that thing down a couple of he could pull that thing down a couple of inches over his eyes and just be hucking balls up. And Garrett Wilson's still going to come down with a certain amount of them. You know, that's just the reality of the situation. He's an amazing receiver. Let's keep this thing going, John. Who do you want to talk about next? Who are you either high on still or more concerned on now?
What am I on? Am I on a concern or am I on a high?
I believe you're on a concern one if you stick to the same format. Yeah.
All right. I think if I'm on a concern one, then who am I concerned about here? I'm concerned about Giants. I'm a little concerned.
This was
I feel bad. Different take, right? This is a different one. Yeah. Because a second ago I said, hey, high on my non-take of the Jets at the moment. A non-take that I am concerned on, if you want to give me the NFC North, is not the Lions.
Yes, sir.
Surprisingly enough, it's not the Lions. I still think the Lions are going to do Lions things and just kind of blow it. That seems very Lions-esque. In fact, it seems kind of like pretty true to form for most of the NFC North. If I'm honest, I'm a Vikings fan. I know better than anybody that this Vikings team has a long tradition of blowing it. They're really good at it.
They sure
super
do,
good
John.
At it. Yeah, they're very
usually
good
in the playoffs. To their credit, usually in the playoffs.
To their credit, they're very good at being like the NFC North champions and like having an early exit.
Like year after year, they're tied with the Cowboys and being the best regular season team that cannot win a playoff game.
Yes. And a team that is regularly in the playoffs other than last year that I was like, hey, look, they just lost their quarterback. I think me and everyone else is out on the Packers this year. Me and everyone else. Nobody picked them in preseason. But after week 1, a Jordan Love kid looks like he knows how to play football. Looks like he knows all the rules. Looks like he knows how to throw it. Looks like he knows how to run it. He's like doing He's doing Dirk Nowitzki fadeaways out there. He's running this way, going off the back foot, throwing it cross field for big yardage. Their receivers look good. I mean, we'd have an injury, didn't we? An injury to Aaron Jones, or I can't remember, but we had a potential hamstring injury, which is not great. But them Packers, go Pack. I think they look good. I kind of wish I had them in a wild card spot, and if I'm honest, I maybe have them winning the NFC. If I had to put money on it, look, I'm never going to pick anyone in the NFC North that isn't the Vikings on this show, because this is our fun show. But if we're on Overtime Operators or other show where we're putting down money, if I'm honest, I might like the Packers as a value bet because they're pretty long odds still to win that NFC North. And good. Look, the Chicago Bears are not good at football. They're real bad. But Jordan Love looks like he knows what he's doing. He looks that understudy program, the apprentice program that the Packers use over there. It seems to work. I mean, we got many years now of good quarterback play.
Yeah, they go Padawan to Jedi, like generation after generation, it seems like. And you know what? I can't take anything away from what you just said. I will just say, in comparison, I mean, this was, I think, at least so far, the only pick where you're concerned about your pick for a team that you pick not to make the playoffs that might actually do it. Yeah. And I'm just I'm just a couple degrees behind you is all. I can't disagree with anything you said. I'm just not quite there yet on the Packers. Anybody can look good for one game,
Show me
and
Jordan Love
maybe
against
I'm
a team
wrong.
that's not called the Bears.
That's
That's where I'm
pretty
at with
much
it.
where I'm at. Yeah. Like I think you're a degree ahead of me where you're like, you're getting nervous that you might have got that wrong. I'm like,
To me,
I still feel okay. We got the line, like, because I mean, this is not my section to take over, but I had the Lions winning this one and the Vikings behind them. So we kind of just disagree on the Lions more than anything. And I
I
think
think so.
that's just
Yeah.
actually a tough division,
To me, it's eye test stuff, and this is why
Yeah.
people aren't in on Brock Purdy is because they don't put eyes on him. If you put eyes on him, you see he is mature. He makes good decisions.
Yeah.
He does not panic. He does the right stuff, even when it's hard, even when it's like those ice in the vein moments. And that's what I saw from Jordan Love. It's just very mature, very patient, putting the ball where it needs to be, and just like carrying himself with that big dick energy, that like same thing that Brock Purdy does. I think it's the kind of stuff you learn understudying an Aaron Rodgers or a Brett Favre, if you're Aaron Rodgers. So I think it's that's what it is. It's eye test kind of stuff. Show me Jordan Love against a team that's not the Bears. Show me Jordan Love against a team like the Cowboys that puts pressure on the QB. That's when we'll really see. Is he mature? Is he a guy who hangs in there and takes that Micah Parsons helmet to the freaking chin? Who knows?
Man, I can't disagree, like I said, but I know it's my turn up, and I have my last team to talk about here. The team that I am this one I wanted to save to the end because I think it's going to take some people by surprise why I would pick them right now.
I mean, obviously, Lions is the obvious one, but you're going another direction with it.
It could be the Lions. Yeah, I'm taking it another direction, though, because I already felt confident about them there. I still feel equally confident. They look good. They looked how I expected them to look. A team that didn't look how I expected them to look, but I still have even more confidence than I did before. The Kansas City Chiefs to win the AFC West. I was extremely confident before, true, just like I was with the Niners. And the Chiefs actually lost their game to the Lions. They didn't look like the Chiefs. They were down Chris Jones because of a contract dispute. They were down Travis Kelce because kind of a freak injury, right? Patrick Mahomes looked all pissed off all game long because none of his NFL receivers, by the way, the guys who get paid millions of dollars to catch a football, could indeed catch a football.
Yeah.
I love the Chiefs even more now as a favorite to win their division than I did before the season started. The chip that's been put on Patrick Mahomes' shoulder now, just the vibe I could get from him, and them settling the dispute with Chris Jones. He's coming back, guys. He's back next week.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, we're not 100% sure he's back next week yet, but he'll be back soon if he's not.
It don't matter.
This team, when it returns to true form, fully loaded with all their superstars and with that extra chip on their shoulder that we lost to the fucking Lions. Are you kidding me?
The Lions?
They might not lose another game all season. And I mean that. They might. This might be all the losses they needed all in one game.
I'll put it this way. I said it. We recorded our other show, Overtime Operators, earlier today. I'll put it this way. If they lose another game this season, maybe they lose a real game. Like they lose to the Bills, they lose maybe to the Dolphins or something like that. They don't lose another game they're supposed to win this season. I think Patrick Mahomes is about sick of that shit. Who does Pat Mahomes always get compared to? Who's the basketball player he always gets compared to?
MJ, baby.
He's the Michael Jordan, the biggest. We're talking about the biggest gamer of all time, right? He gets compared to the biggest gamer of all time. Kid's a gamer. He's not going to lose again. He's not going to lose another game they're supposed to win. I'm in on this. Like I said it earlier, I took the Chiefs on the money line, or I took the Chiefs on the spread this weekend. I'm in on this pick. I am in on the Chiefs until they show me I shouldn't be.
All right, John, I love that one, bro. I hate to do this to you. Your boy's got to take a potty break. All right. I know we have one team left. I'm gonna get all my thoughts ready. I know which team you're gonna bring up, so you go ahead and do it. You can do a little stall for me. Maybe you work in some other thing here. I will return. I promise.
Yeah. All right. So my last pick, Casey, is he's not scrolled to the spot, but that's okay. I'll tell you guys. You gonna scroll to the spot for me? No, you're not. All right. So I picked the Bucks to win the NFC South. And it was my hot take pick. It was my spicy pick. All right. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to win the NFC South, but to me, the NFC South feels very, very open. It feels like who knows what's going on there. Do I believe in the Falcons? Obviously not. Neither Casey or I believe in the Falcons. We're both pretty much out on the Falcons. Casey's got the Panthers to win the NFC South, and if it's not the Panthers, it's the Saints. The Bucks beat the Vikings in week 1. Now, given that game last year is a game the Vikings win. They had a lot of that stuff kind of roll their way, sort of tip in their favor last year. We said earlier the football gods were very nice to the Dallas Cowboys this week. The football gods were incredibly kind to the Minnesota Vikings all year last year. Those close games were like those games where we just kind of find a way to win. A bunch of those could have tipped the other way last year, and we could be looking at a Vikings team that was third in the NFC North. But this year's a new year, and the Tampa Bay Bucks with freaking Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans leading the team in receiving, found a way to beat the Vikings 20-17, whilst Kirk Cousins throws for 350 yards and Justin Jefferson catches for 150 yards, 9 receptions for 150 yards. That's 16 yards on average per reception. So they basically just said, yep, we're going to let Kirk and Justin do their thing. They're going to do it. They're going to connect a bunch of times. They're going to rack up a bunch of yards against us. Somehow we're still going to win 2017. Somehow we're going to hold them in the red zone. They're going to get to the red zone pretty much every drive, and we're going to hold them to field goals or nothing. And we're going to win 2017. Look, I think the Bucks are going to win the NFC South. I don't know. It's still a hot take. It's a spicy take, but the NFC South is real open. And if you look at the Bucks, they're my asterisk pick. I think if I hit on an asterisk pick, the asterisk pick is the spicy take. It's the one where we're like, I don't know if I really think this, but here's the hottest narrative I can come up with. If I hit on an asterisk pick, I feel like it's worth extra points. All right. I feel like I should get 5 points instead of 1 point for that. I don't know if we have a point system here. I don't know what the scoring system is on this.
But it's worth 1 million points. It's worth 1 billion points. It's worth 1 billion points if you get it right.
1 billion points. Yeah. This is the same as whose line is. The points mean nothing. It doesn't matter.
I think that this is an interesting one. I fully agree with your decision making in bringing them up. It's kind of an early victory lap because they look great out of the gate, or great relative to like the division they play in, let's say, right? Yeah. And I mean, hey, it's not a coincidence that we have our 2 asterisk like spicy picks of the conference coming out of the same division as the division leaders. And honestly, like I think you touched on in that little speech you gave there, the Saints are probably most people's favorites to win, and I got them as a lowly wild card. We got the Bucks versus Panthers at the top. Who knows what the hell happens here? So yeah, if you get this right, it was kind of like hitting on like a full lottery pick. I like it a lot. There's a reason why Baker Mayfield was on those lists, by the way, of like potential replacements for Aaron Rodgers, and it's not because like, yeah, he's just a body, right? He's a QB1 for another team right now. Why would they put a QB1 for another team on the list of guys who could replace Aaron Rodgers for the Jets? It's because he's one of the few guys that people think if he goes there, they might actually have a shot still. He's just good enough to where he could bring them to the mountaintop. Do I agree with that? I don't know. Probably no.
Winning a Super Bowl is real hard.
But I do agree with what I just said, that's the only reason he's on that list. There's not many QB1s on it. Do you see, you don't see Kirk Cousins on that list, right? Because, like, why? Like you're not getting him for one, and like what would that mean? Like what would we even think of that?
I mean, I do think Kirk is kind of that guy too that could probably get like that if you could plug him in, but you're just not going to get him,
Right. They think Baker Mayfield's in that weird position where like, are the Bucks committed to him? Maybe not. Could he help us? Is he better than Zach Wilson? Maybe not, but probably to both of those. I don't know. I think the Bucks, I mean, they're 1-0. I don't think 1-0 teams are in the business of trading away their quarterbacks. And to their point, I mean, or to their credit, they're 1-0 for a reason. They beat an okay team, man. Like, I think that this is not like we might as well just tank for a good, like, no, they could legitimately, any team in this division we don't have win. The Falcons accounted for. The Falcons could easily win this division too. It's so, I don't like saying the word, I hate saying up for grabs, having anything to do with football teams and like who could win.
Well, in the NFC South, it's the only way to describe it.
Right? It is one.
Look, let me put it this way. If you take a flyer on the Bucks to win the NFC South this year and they win week 1, you better talk about it because it might be your last chance. That's what I'm doing here, right? Like they might not win another game for like 4 weeks. Okay. So look, I'm taking my victory lap on the Bucks now while I still can.
You know what? I like it. John, we have one more order of business. I'm making an audible. We talked about it ahead of the show. If we were running a little late, we might not do all of our picks this episode. We might save them for later in the week. So one thing we have to get out of the way, because I know for sure we won't have a show before Thursday, is we at least have to talk about our picks for the Thursday night game. And what kind of like friend would I be if I didn't let you victory lap real quick on how well you did, just so everybody can see. I'm going to give us a little zoom out here. John absolutely slaughtered me in our pick'em. And to be fair to myself, just real briefly, not to take anything away from what you did, we make this disclaimer all the time. Like, we have another show. By the way, if you're into making money in sports, go check out Overtime Operators on YouTube, on Spotify. Check out your podcast apps for it. We'll teach you how to make money there. We'll make our real serious bets over there. But we do just straight up social pick 'em. This is kind of our more fun comedy type of sports show. I'm not gonna mince words about it. John slaughtered me, y'all. He only missed 3 games. He went 13-3, and I went 6-10. So, John, congratulations.
Dude,
please
and I did it picking ridiculous crap too. You know what I mean? Like I did this throwing junk. I picked the Lions. I picked the damn Lions. Like, come on.
The foresight of this man.
Yeah. I picked what else? Like, I picked the Cowboys. Like, I like the Giants. I like Vanilla Vic, but somehow I picked the Cowboys.
You were all over Dan Jones in like every mock draft we did.
Dude, I'm a big Dan Jones guy, but somehow I'm like, I think a bunch of these I picked just to pick opposite you. You're like Bears. I'm like, hey, give me Jordan Love. Like I think I even said stuff like, look, do I think the Packers are gonna win? No, but I'm gonna bet on Jordan Love. All right. I picked the Rams. I picked a bunch of junk, and I don't know. That's week 1 for you. That is week 1 for you. I mean,
it certainly is.
And to put it in context, we did this all last season. 13 wins is crazy. That's probably one of the best weeks ever.
I think it might match the high of last year.
Yeah.
There's another wrinkle to it too.
And I think the high of last year was also me. Like, it was like a bunch of luck early on.
Once we start the bye weeks, there are fewer games. Those start like week 4, week 5 usually. So like you only get a certain amount of chance to even have 13 wins, and like you got one already. So you created some separation right out of the gate. It's going to be tough to catch you, honestly. Making up 7 wins even over the course of an entire season. That's a lot of wins.
I won't do this, but the dick thing is to just now pick exactly as
everything that I pick. Yeah, I might just make you pick. Maybe now you've inherited the spot if you have to pick every game first. Because I do
then you're gonna have to.
For what it's worth, I do think I picked first on last year. We snaked every game. I think this year I picked first every game, didn't I?
Did you? I don't know. I
think so. Still. For sure, in week 2, I'm going to make you do that. So, John,
I picked a bunch opposite you just to pick them opposite you last week.
I love it. And I get the opportunity to do that now. With the 7-game lead, I'm certainly going to make you pick every one of these games first. We could go through everyone, but I think for time's sake, we'll probably just do the Thursday night game and then save the rest for our next episode.
Okay.
Yeah. So, John, the real question is Vikings at Eagles. Your Vikings at Eagles.
So here's the thing. This is the problem with being in the lead, is now I feel like I have to pick the actual winner instead of just picking how I want to pick.
All the pressure. Yeah. What do you got, John?
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I want to pick the Vikings. It's triple cross. I should pick the Vikings. I actually think I even liked the Vikings on Overtime Operators. I like the money line because it's plus 260. Look, if you were going to give me plus 260 on this, then okay. If you're even going to give me a spread, maybe I take the Vikings. If you'd give me the 7-point spread, but in a just straight up pick him, am I going to take Kirk Cousins on primetime? No, he's like the worst primetime player ever. So you got to give me the Eagles here.
Yeah, I get it, John. You don't want to.
If I was behind, I would know you were going to pick the Eagles. And I'd be like, just give me the Vikings. Why not?
Why not? Right. I think differently. It could be my opportunity to get closer to you, catch up by a game. This is not my opportunity to catch up by a game. I am not a Vikings homer, so it wouldn't be a homer pick for me anyway. Y'all know, if you watched last year, I was down with the Vikings or with the Eagles breakout. I think they're a little overrated now, but the Vikings are like right at that line where I'm like, are the Vikings really going to beat the Eagles? Anything could happen, but more often than not, if they played 10 times in a row, The Eagles are coming away with at least 6 of those victories. So I'm going to stick with the Eagles here. Even though I need to make up points, this will not be my shot. We will save the rest of these matchups. There are more than 4 other games, by the way, for the remainder. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I only have 4 other matchups loaded up here. That's because I knew we wouldn't get to this full section today. So I will fill those in, and we will revisit them on Friday, which is our second show of the week. Make sure you join us on Friday for Triple Cross Podcast, where we will definitely talk the rest of the picks we have for week 2 of the NFL action. And I'm sure we'll also think of some other like crazy fun hijinks. John, what do you want to talk about on Friday? And what else are we going to talk about for the rest of the show?
I don't know, dude. Maybe we could talk about like, maybe we could do like a fantasy draft of like household objects or something like that. Like I'll take couch for my QB, or maybe offense. I feel
not very mobile.
Like a couch would be like if you got a sectional, that's an offensive line right there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's like the thing's not moving.
Yeah, not going to be very effective on very good on screen passes where you got to like get moving.
No, you're gonna have to run a different offensive scheme if you got couch at the offensive line. I just want to say one quick thing about the picks. Two things actually. One, if you picked the Vikings and then beat me, that would be like the biggest kick in the nuts ever. So I'm glad you didn't. And 2, I don't remember number 2, but there, it just sounded better to say there's 2 things. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, real quick, everybody, likes on the video. If you haven't liked the video yet, we're at 24. I don't know if we're going to hit 30, but if we hit 30, we're going to give away 2 more $25 gift cards. But you only got a couple seconds. So, we're going to end this stream here pretty soon. And we are going to head over to our private viewing community. The show is live over there. So if you've already liked the video, you can head over to playback.tv/triplecross. I see a couple extra people coming into YouTube here. Like the video. We're at 25. Hey, we could hit 30. If there's 5 of you watching who haven't liked the video yet, we could hit 30. Like the video, head over to playback.tv/triplecross. We are going to give away $25 gift card. (S) there. And if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play or Stitcher or I don't know, SoundCloud or any place that plays podcasts sonically, any sonic podcast listening app, we appreciate you. We appreciate you for getting to the deep end of the episode. Give us the 5-star review that all the audio podcasts ask you for. Mainly just because it's nice. It's nice to see that people like us and give us stars. Stars are a very interesting reward system that we've come up with to say like, hey, you're awesome. Here's a star. So give us 5 of them, and we appreciate it. And I think that's it. We're going to do a hard out right now, and then we're going to head over to Playback. We'll give YouTube people just another couple minutes. So
yeah, we got some spins to do. I put the wheel back up onto the screen real quick just so people could see what we're about to do over on Playback for the after party for the show. We will be doing some more spins. Cher says she's got to be put on the wheel, John. Cher made it over to Playback. It happened.
Good job, Cher.
We got Cher, but Cher's back to her old ways of cap locks, so we'll have to go over that again. But we love it. We got a lot of people over. Yeah, we got a lot of people over in Playback. I know we got a lot of people on YouTube too. So this is your last call. Head on over to Playback. Links in the description. Maybe you can win yourself some sports memorabilia. We'll find out in about 15 minutes. So we're heading to Playback now. We got some fun stuff going on over there. Join us, please. Link in the description. I think that's going to do it for us. We'll see you right now on Playback for the after party show. And then we'll catch you on Friday. That's what's next. Definitely check out Overtime Operators on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify right now and soon on Apple Podcasts. I think that was everything. John, let's get to the after party. What do you say?
Playback.tv/triplecross. That's the pod.
Later, y'all.
Bye.
Go Niners!